accountability, recognizing that you are at fault when you quit, when you give up, when you slow down your progress, and only you can overcome that. And finding that anchor, that thing that's going to make you overcome and realize that I got to keep pushing. Next thing you know, you're 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in. Now it's your lifestyle. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of More or Less, where we challenge the mind to improve ourselves and be better individuals each and every day. Today, I'm going to be talking about wisdom versus knowledge and understanding how both of these play a part in your mindset. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I'm your host, Maurice Jones here, and I just wanted to shout out in this episode that coming soon, I'm going to be adding guests to my episode, so be on the lookout. You may not know them, but I know them, and so it's encouraging to see individual people just like you sharing their stories of triumph, sharing their stories of victory, how their mindset got them from where they were to where they are now. And so I want to encourage you guys. I thank you guys so much. And as of this recording, we're only 6 episodes in, y'all. 7 episodes in. We count the bonus episode, and I've already got 50 downloads. I'm super excited about that. I know other people probably have hundreds of thousands, but I'm great with my 50, y'all. As I'm releasing this, got 50 downloads. I got guests looking to come on the show. I want you guys to really take part in this journey. And if you have a story, if you're following along and you want to share your journey of success and how it all started with mindset, I want you to get on this show with me. Now, let's get into it. I'm going to be breaking down wisdom and knowledge. And so first and foremost, when it comes to the Word of God, I always have to give my notions and my nuggets from the Word of God. If you read Proverbs and you go through that, if you go through the book of Ecclesiastes, it really breaks down wisdom and it breaks down knowledge. The beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. Wisdom of the Lord is above our own wisdom. And so when you really think about that, when you think about the Creator, the name above our names, the one that created us, the one that made us in his likeness, he formulated us with a means to gain knowledge, right? And they said, for my people perish for lack of knowledge. That is scripture as well. That's in Chronicles, where it talks about how the people fell short. The people always went back to their old ways, or the people always succumbed to the enemy because their lack of knowledge. And so I look at today and I think about how the media easily manipulates us because we don't lack knowledge. They give us information. Just because we have information doesn't mean we obtain the knowledge. We take the information, right? There's levels to this. There's information, there's knowledge, and there's wisdom. So just because you have information doesn't really hit the note of knowledge, because knowledge is truly the understanding of the information. And so you can know how to get 1 + 1, but then when you apply it, you can say, okay, $1 + $1 makes $2. So it's information, having information in front of you, and then knowledge is really the understanding and grabbing hold to truth. And then wisdom really is the application thereof. So we have knowledge, but we can gain knowledge simply by grabbing and taking hold of information. But just because you have knowledge of something does not mean that source of that information is true. And so even deeper down the knowledge is truth behind the matter. And so when it comes to understanding, first and foremost, my pivotal thought is getting to know Jesus Christ, getting to know the Word of God. Because if there's any source of truth, you're gonna find it in God, right? A lot of times we struggle with knowledge. A lot of times we struggle with application of wisdom because we don't know truth. We don't have understanding, right? Like you can YouTube a video of gain knowledge or information from watching a YouTube video on how to fix your car. But then you attempt to do it, but since you didn't apply the wisdom and the correct understanding behind what you saw, you might end up with a worse car than you started off. You can have so many examples for that here, but digging deeper into the subject matter, I want you guys to understand that there's levels to this when it comes to mindset, right? And a core thing with wisdom is the applying God's truth in your life. God made you with purpose. God made you unique. And sometimes we hinder ourselves in our uniqueness and the creativity of God that He established us because we lack ownership, right? We lack ownership of ourselves, right? We take knowledge and we can spew out information, but the wisdom is applying things that we've learned to our own lives. For example, experience can be coped with knowledge. You have experienced life, right? You've gained knowledge and learned things over your life. But wisdom is learning from those things and then adjusting your life according to that. Knowledge is being aware of the thing, but when you lack understanding, when you lack wisdom, you don't apply yourself to that thing. This is why we go in circles. This is why we struggle with mindset, because when things happen in our lives, we make the same mistake over and over again. We fall for the same people. We get into the same relationships. We struggle on the same diet. We go from diet to diet, from person to person, from job to job, from situation to situation, because we recognize the signs of something failing, of something not working, and we jump ship, or we quit before something is good. We say, okay, this is the time where I usually fold. And then what happens? You still fold because of the mechanisms that you have, because you haven't applied the wisdom, and because you haven't tapped into the core mindset of who you are. You have to recognize that most of the problems in your life are you. I talked about in my previous podcast, how we react to things, how we respond to things. These are all a result of ourselves. We choose what information we accept. I could be spewing out information to you right now, and you could take bits and part of what I'm saying. You could take the whole thing of what I'm saying, or you can listen to this whole podcast and call me crazy and think I'm just spewing out randomness and I don't know what I'm talking about. But you can also take in the fullness of this and say, you know what? I need to get myself together. I need to understand that I have ownership of my mind, and what I allow into my mind is on me. We can both read the same Bible, and you might choose not to believe in Jesus Christ, and I could choose to believe in Jesus Christ. We have the same internet. We could both be looking up best diets. You might go vegetarian. I might go keto, right? Based on the information we gather and what we choose to believe. I'll even throw the election out there because it's a hot topic. Your information might lead you to vote for Kamala Harris, and then the other person's information might lead them to vote to Trump, right? But the information that they receive and choose to believe fuels them in making their decision to vote. Whatever we do, we make the choice to lock in on the information we want to lock in. And we have access to the same information, which makes it so crazy. So what it comes down to is your ownership, right? You can say, so-and-so told me X, Y, Z, and so I did X, Y, Z. You chose to believe that information. I read the book on mindset. I read the book on God is love. I read the book on that from T.D. Jakes. I read the book from Michael Eric, right? I'm just reading a whole bunch of books I just seen on my bookshelf. And you can choose to believe what you believe. You can choose to believe the information in those books, or you can choose not to, right? Someone can say, this is the best method for you to gain weight. This is the best method for you to lose weight. This is the best method for you to make your first million. This is the best method for you to make your first million. Whatever you choose to do is on you. Whatever you decide to do, it is on you. It is your choice to grab hold of what you will basically anchor yourself to. And so when it comes to the space of mindset, one key component is understanding how wisdom works and choosing what you gain through information, the applied knowledge in that set course of wisdom. So we take on the information. You choose to believe this information. Now you have the knowledge of that information, and now you choose how to apply that information to your life. And these are the steps. And then once you really get an understanding and find whatever is beneficial to you, you lock into a routine of applying that information over and over again. For example, let's talk about health and fitness. You are reading the internet, scouring the internet, and you finally decide, hey, I'm gonna do this workout. Let's say CrossFit. I'm gonna pick CrossFit. I like CrossFit. it works for me. And they say, do CrossFit this way, high interval training, and this style. So then you find a style that works for you, and you find out, okay, mornings works better for me than nights. So you find that mornings do work better for you. So you develop a routine, and you say, you know what? I'm going to apply myself to this. You start doing CrossFit week after week. And then, by the third week, you decide, hey, this is usually mentally where I quit, or where instead of working 6 to 7 days a week, I'm doing 2 to 3 days a week. And you get that feeling, that urge. That's the moment you have to apply wisdom and say, you know what? I know myself, and I'm taking ownership of my mind, and I'm going to push myself this week because I know something is going to happen to me, or I'm going to feel the type of way by week 3 where I don't feel like giving it 6 to 7 days. And you know what? I'm going to push today. You make a commitment the next day. I'm going to push today. And then you might only do 5 or 6 days, but you decided to push through. And then the next week, you might get that 6 day, 7 day in again. But you keep pushing because you realized who you were. The wisdom was like, I always fall off, and I take weeks off and months off, and then I have to restart, right? Recognizing that you have a problem with commitment to something, and you understand that you have to break that barrier, and you put yourself in a situation where you can stay consistent and you're accountable. That's another big thing, accountability, recognizing that you are at fault when you quit, when you give up, when you slow down your progress, and only you can overcome that. And finding that anchor, that thing that's going to make you overcome and realize that I got to keep pushing. Next thing you know, you're 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in. Now it's your lifestyle. Now you're in that lifestyle change. And then this is where you dig deeper into wisdom. I can do it with this CrossFit journey and my now maybe health journey, or my walk with Christ, or my pursuit in my job. I can do that with anything. And I have to break that down maybe to another episode of ownership and accountability. But right now, we're talking about wisdom and knowledge. You have to be careful what your sources are, because you can get information from so many places. You can be filled with so much knowledge. And even when you have that knowledge, how you use it is so crucial. You can read, like me, over 200 books on personal development, business, and mindset, right? I could be sitting here keeping that information to myself and not applying it. Or I could make a podcast and join groups who are building up other people. I chose to go with the latter. Building a podcast where I'm giving this information so you don't have to read as many books as I did to get the concept broken down. Building communities where if you need that personal coach, you can come in and tap in with me, my community, and we can help you develop on that mental state. A lot of people need that extra push. A lot of people need that coach. A lot of people need that person in their ear that's going to help them. They're going to minister to them. They're going to speak into their lives. They're going to guide them, whatever or however you choose to get that information to you. Some people need that extra voice there. It could be in a book, could be in an audiobook, could be a podcast. It could be me and you signing up for a class. I coach you over the next couple of weeks, and then we break you into your new mindset. Whatever that case may be, you have to take something, you have to take that wisdom and do something with it. You have to do something with that knowledge. And there's no point in you learning information, right? What's the point of reading up on the latest diets if you're not going to change? You could be reading about keto, vegan, vegetarian, but then every day you're eating sweets and junk food all the time. So you're not applying any of them to your life. So what's the point of having all the knowledge just to sit on the couch and debate with people? Oh, I know this about XYZ, but what are you doing with that information? Who are you helping with the information that you have? And that's why it's so important to have understanding when it comes to knowledge. And not only that, it's more beneficial to you, because when you apply what you know, you make yourself better and you make everyone around you better. So my challenge for you guys is, I'm gonna just jump back to the why on that a little bit. When you have the knowledge and you're in that routine of applying it with understanding, which is wisdom, when you have the wisdom behind your core values of who you are, behind the information that you're gravitating to, how are you going to apply it? Because we talked about the why, and I have to break that down some more. But when we talked about your why, the reason why you want to be successful, the reason why you want to be changed, the reason why you want to develop a mindset that is foolproof, that you're never suffering, or not never suffering, but you overcome struggles, you beat your own self, you win at mindset, right? How do you do that? There's the why you do that for your family, for your kids, for your future, right? For your health. There goes your why, your anchor. But the how is the application of the wisdom, right? Or the what, the how and the what, right? You're doing something, but what is that something, right? What are your skill set? What are you knowledgeable about that you can share with the world? What are you passionate about that you can share with the world? How has your life experience transformed you to be who you are today? What makes you credible to talk about what you talk about? Who are you to say what you say, right? You can just be spewing out information, but when you applied it and it sounds more authentic, when people can see the fruit of who you are. You guys heard my story, you hear it over and over again, the things I've been through in my life, and I'm here sharing this experience with you, and it's all because of mindset. There are people who would not be able to be here in this time, in this period. Take my life experience and apply it to your life. You might have gone through something worse. But what are you doing with that? What are you doing with those experiences? Wisdom shows us that we may not understand God's plans for our life, but then there's a purpose at the end of the road. All these things that in my life happened in my life, but now I'm at a place now where I view life on the way I view life. You really have to follow this podcast and allow me to articulate my view of the world through mindset, through me, right? You have to really listen and to really understand where I'm at mentally in life. I can't explain it in one podcast episode. You just have to witness it and experience it for yourself. But you have a story too. You've been through things as well. There are challenges that you've had that other people didn't win at. There are experiences that you have that other people are dying to learn how. There's a you that is needed for somebody else to be them, for someone to come into the fullness of who God called them to be. But your story, your experience, your life has to be applied, has to be shared, has to give. Because we're all part of this body, y'all. We're all part of this world. We all have a purpose. We all have a calling. And I want you guys to tap into who you were meant to be. Not who Joe Smith wanted you to be, or mom and dad, or your cousin, or your best friend, who they influenced you to be, but really locked in. Now, I'm not saying that in a bad way, because what happens in some cases is your parents, your mom and dad might have been steering you the wrong way, but you got off track. You might have had a good circle of influence, but you got off track. You have to get back on with who you were meant to be. And a lot of times, it's the people around us that can see what we can't see. They're like, you're destined for great. You have this thing on you. I can see it. It's all over you. You have to have those, and wisdom and knowledge is this. Hearing where the truth lies. Because people could be like, oh, I see you being this thing. They could see you're destined for greatness, but then they put their own projection on you. That's a big topic right now, is people projecting. They can project, they see your greatness, but see something that they like, and they project that onto you. Oh, I see you're destined for this. No, you're not destined for that. You're destined for something great, but it might not necessarily be that. But they can recognize that greatness is upon you. So that's where you got to apply the knowledge of who you truly are and that wisdom to move the way you need to move. So I hope this message encourages you guys on this day as you're listening to this episode here. I want you to take time to reflect on what you feel an expert in, all the information you gathered in life, and what truly of value, right? What is truly of value to you that could be valued to somebody else? Let me give you a bonus really quick right here. People that are most wealthy aren't chasing the money. they're solving problems. So what are you knowledgeable of, passionate about, that will solve somebody else's problem? Because your life happened up to this moment. Experience happened up to this moment, and you simply sharing your story might be the catalyst for someone to get into their story fully. And so take time to reflect on your life, understand who you are, and be wise in the choices that you're making. Because if you keep going in the same circle, if you're struggling with finding success, struggling with becoming who you feel like you were meant to be, you're in a rut, you're stuck, you can't break through the wall, you can't get past your plateau, then you have to take an introspective look at yourself, recognize who is the problem and you is the problem, and how can we fix that problem? By understanding who we are, applying what we know about ourselves to change. I'm just speaking words, but you have to make the decision inevitably to change you. Don't wait for them to change, that person to change, whoever to change, blaming everybody for your situation. It's always, it will always be you. So I encourage you to pivot your thinking, pivot your perspective, pivot your thought process until you get to a point where you recognize that the only way to break through is you. As a coach, one thing I try to do is I try to get people to unpack who they are. I lead them, but they guide themselves. I don't tell them what to do. I position them in a place that they discover for themselves. That's a coaching trick. If any of your coaches that are listening out there, you got to get them to find out for themselves if they're going to change. If you tell them how to change, they might try it and quit. But if you show them how to find within themselves and they recognize what they need to change on their own as you guide them, they will change and it will stick and it will sustain. So you have to decide today, I got this knowledge. I even have wisdom about who I am, about how my mind works, about how I apply what I'm doing in my life. But today, I'm going to do it different because it is my fault. If I want better and if I want to be better, I have to decide to do that. And when you decide to do that, your life will forever be changed. So I thank you guys for joining in on another episode. Stay tuned for more special offers. I have something truly special coming. It's coming. It's coming. But if you need that right now, go ahead and message me. If you listen to this episode and say, hey, I need a new mindset and I don't know where to start, DM me right now. Thank you guys. Catch you guys. Always give your life more and never